guys, today is my first book and movie review, and it is going to be On the Host by Stephenie Meyer. So I'll first start off to say, with the book review, I'm going to make it spoiler-free. The beginning of the movie review is also going to be spoiler-free, but the ending will have spoilers. I will let you know when, so you can exit out if you don't want to be spoiled, but yes, let's get started. So The Host is sort of a science fiction novel, but not too science fiction-y. It's set in a world where aliens have come to Earth and pretty much taken over, but it's not the typical alien race you'd first assume. These aliens implant themselves into the human body and basically they take control of it. So basically your mind dies, but your body is alive and being controlled by these alien centipedes sort of things. So one human in particular, Melanie Strider, she refuses to fade away, which means she is still inside of her head. She can't control her body. Usually she's pretty much trapped inside her own mind, inside her own body. She can't do anything about it. And so Wanderer, or Wanda, the alien which has been put into the body, is kind of struggling with the fact that her host is not going away. Now, things start to get particularly interesting when Wanderer starts to develop feelings for Jared, Melanie's lover. Basically all of these memories that Melanie is pushing into Wanda's head is just making her fall for this random guy she's never even met before, which is a little awkward. I love this book so much. It is one of my favourite books of all time. I love it. I love it to bits. Basically, I just... so good. And before I go into more detail, I just have one thing I want to say to you guys, especially those of you who are a little hesitant on picking this book up because it is written by Stephenie Meyer and you're wary about it because of the whole Twilight thing. Stop right there. Stop it. Get all of those predispositions out of your head. You need to approach this as a separate entity from Twilight. A completely separate entity. Just don't connect this to the Twilight series at all, okay? Okay, good. Because this book is so different from Twilight. Completely different from Twilight. I assure you, it is so different. It is so much better. I promise. So basically now if I say The Host, you shouldn't think of Twilight at all. At all, okay? Now I can continue. I really don't know what I can say about this book. It is just, it's so amazing. Okay, maybe I should start talking about something specifically. So... where do I start? Okay, I think I'll start off with one thing that I want to warn you guys about. The beginning of this book is a little bit slow. The first few chapters involve a fair bit of world building and you kind of get to know a little about Wanda and her life on this planet and basically what the aliens are all about. So it's a little bit slow, I will tell you that. So if you started this book and you're like, there's nothing really happening, push through. Promise, it will get better. Things really do start getting interesting, especially around the point where Wanda herself decides to go in search of Jared and Jamie, Melanie's younger brother. I just realised I spent $33 on this book. Do you see that? Do you see that? $33 on this book. It was so worth it, guys. I swear to you, it was so worth it. I really liked how the world building was done in this book. We get to learn a lot about what Earth is like now that these aliens have taken over, both for the souls and the humans, but also we get to learn about the universe as well. Wanderer has been on a fair few planets, so we also get to discover a little more about what's out there in this world and what kind of creatures are on these planets and what they look like, what senses they have and things like that. So it was really, really interesting and intriguing to kind of learn about all these different things, which it was just really fascinating, and these aliens aren't the typical ones that we've learned to associate with the word. So I really like that aspect, and also the plot itself, the whole fact that this is happening, it's kind of scary to think about, because these aliens aren't coming in to destroy our world, to wipe out the human race. They're coming to this world to kind of perfect it in a way and make it a peaceful planet and to kind of stop, you know, the terrorism and the destructiveness of humanity. The book itself it really makes you think about humans and our impacts on the world around us and also what it means to be human. This book really makes you think. Sorry, Raylene's just tweeting me about the movie. Okay, anyway, getting back to the book. I just really love the world that this book was set in and how it was created. Just, it was perfection. And then we have the characters. There are so many fantastic characters. Like, I absolutely loved Wanda. I thought she was just a beautiful, beautiful character. I loved the fact that this was written from her perspective. And then there was Melanie. She was a really, really strong female character. She was really compassionate. Her love for her brother and for Jared were just so great that she was willing to sacrifice herself in order to protect them. And then there's Jared. I think the first time I read this, I really did love Jared, but as time goes on, I just didn't love him. I don't think I loved Jared as much as I did. You know who I do love? Ian. Ian, oh my god. That's all I'm gonna say about him. Oh god, I love him. And then there's also the characters that you love to hate, the ones that really frustrate you, but they're imperative to the story. Every single character you can empathize with. You completely understand the way every single one of them thinks, their motivations, the things they do, the things they say. You understand. You completely understand, which I thought was really good because you didn't have any villains, so to speak, that were just unreasonable. They had their clear-cut motivations. I really liked this aspect of the story, and I loved all of the characters in it. Even the ones that I hated, I loved that they were a part of the story because every single one was an integral part of this story, and my heart is seriously racing just thinking about this book. I just want to pick it back up again and reread it right now. I honestly can't think of anything else to say about this book. There are no more words. There are no more words. You have to pick up this book. I love it. I love it so much. 5 out of 5 stars. Seriously, guys. Seriously, pick it up. Okay, now moving on to the movie, and I'm sorry, guys, the lighting, I've been talking for way too long and I'm running out of light, so it's gonna get funky up in here. So basically, my overall feelings about the movie was I liked it. I did enjoy it. It did make me cry a few times, but it wasn't perfect. It does have its flaws. It wasn't a perfect movie. There were some things that kind of annoyed me a little bit, but overall, I enjoyed the movie. I think the main thing that was lacking in the movie was development of both the characters and also their romantic interests. I completely understand that things had to be rushed in this movie. I mean, this book is a chunky book. There is a lot going on in here. A lot. It is a big book, and it's really hard to condense all of that into a 2-hour film. So I completely understand that things had to be sacrificed and things had to be quickened, but to be honest, I would have been much happier if the movie was longer. If there were those extra scenes which really helped to create the character arcs and develop the romance between specific characters and things like that. I just wish that it could have been expanded in order to flesh out those things. And the other thing, there were some really, really cheesy moments in this film. Like, the writing certainly wasn't perfect. There were just some scenes where I just felt so awkward watching them. I even said this while I was watching them. I felt like I was intruding. It was just too much cheese factor in some of the scenes. Yeah, I just wish that the dialogue had been written a little better, particularly in a handful of scenes. But yeah, sorry guys, the lighting's getting pretty cray now. One of the other things that was a little cheesy, a little bit was the internal dialogue, Melanie speaking, the way it was done. There was no easy way to go about this. I think they did the best they could, because this book is very difficult to translate into a film because a lot of the book involves the internal struggles of Wanda and Melanie. Their conflicts and fighting, they're done inside her head. So it's a really difficult thing to put into a movie. So I completely understand that, but it was a little cheesy and I just poked my eye. But anyway, those were the main things that kind of bothered me about the film and the main things that meant that I didn't love this movie. I liked it, but I didn't love it because of these things. But enough of the negativity. I think it's time to go into some more positive things. I think the casting was pretty much perfect. I think the actors did a fantastic job. I love Saoirse Ronan. I love her so much. I think she was absolutely amazing in this. And then there's also Max Irons and Jake Abel who played Jared and Ian. They're so sexy, oh my lord. But when I saw Jake Abel, I couldn't stop thinking about Supernatural. Did that happen to anyone else? I just kept thinking of Supernatural. It's not like he was in many of the episodes, but I don't know. I just love Supernatural so much. More sexy men. That is beside the point, Kaz. whoa, whoa. We're talking about the host here. Oh my god, he got engaged to someone. No, my heart is broken. Like I said in my book review, I love Ian. I love his character so much, so yes. I also thought that the Seeker was done really well. Diane Kruger did a brilliant job as the Seeker. I thought she was the perfect actress for the Seeker. I like that we see more of her in the film and her struggles with trying to find Wanda, and also various other conflicts both with other Seekers and with herself. The other thing about this film is just it made me really emotional. Just so emotional, my god. There were various scenes where I did end up crying. I'll talk about a few of those in particular later on, but overall I think the reason why I enjoyed the film so much was because my love for the book is so strong. I love it so much. If I hadn't read the book, I think I might not have enjoyed it quite as much as I did, because I wouldn't have quite understood the romantic connections and everything like that, and possibly gotten a little more confused. I was able to kind of understand why certain sacrifices were made in the film, because I mean, just a book that long is not going to translate perfectly into film. I think it was just also the excitement of seeing it on the big screen as well. I was so excited to see it. So I just didn't let myself get disappointed with it. But I mean, I'm definitely going to be rewatching the movie. I plan on watching it several times, and I think that each time I watch it, I will continue to enjoy it. It wasn't a perfect film, but I liked it. God, I haven't even thought about what I'm going to rate the movie. I think that I'm going to rate the movie 3.5 stars. That's what my gut is telling me. It wasn't perfect, but it certainly wasn't a terrible movie by any means. I really, really enjoyed watching it. I did like it. Just there were a couple of things. There are a couple of things that I think could have been done a little better. Just a little bit. Anyway, guys, I am going to move on to the spoiler section now. So in this section, I am going to be talking more about comparisons between the film and the movie. So if you haven't read it or watch the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, then I would suggest that you leave now. Press the X button. Press the X button. Do it. I don't want to spoil you. Okay, I'm assuming that everyone that is still watching has read the book / watched the movie / doesn't care about being spoiled. Am I right? Am I right? Okay, let's move on. One of the things that I would have liked to see more about the character development was Doc. I would have liked to see more of Doc's character fleshed out a little more, especially when it came to his failures with removing the souls. In the book, he was really distraught about it, and he, you know, was drinking a bit because it was really weighing heavily on it. But then in the movie, we only heard a passing comment from Jeb saying it was taking its toll on Doc. I just wish I could have seen some more of that, because Doc didn't seem too fazed by it. We didn't get to see much of him, to be honest. I really did like Doc's character, so I wish I could have just seen a little more of his development in the film. I thought that would have been nice. Do you guys agree? Oh my god, and the other thing, Walter. Why? Why wasn't he in the film? I wish that he was in the film so badly. I think adding his character would have really helped the movie. He was such an important character, I thought, because he and Wanda developed quite a connection in the book, and especially when he was dying, Wanda was really there for him, and you got to see more of Wanda's compassionate side and see that she wasn't harmful, and the other characters got to see this as well, because she really did help Walter in his last few days. So I really wish he was in the movie. I really loved Walter. I'm really sad that he wasn't in the movie. I think that's the thing I'm most upset about, the fact that Walter wasn't in the movie. Oh, poor little Walter. So like I mentioned before, I really liked how we got to see more of the Seekers, and you get to see more of their actions and their scoping the land and everything. So I think that was done really well. There were a couple of scenes in particular which I think really helped to shape the audience's understanding of these aliens and their nature. For example, when the Seeker that Diane Kruger plays shoots another one of the Seekers, it was really shocking, both for me and also the other Seekers around her. It was an accident, but she killed another Seeker, and I thought that her reaction as well as the reactions of the other Seekers really helped to kind of inform the audience more about what these aliens were about. It wasn't who they were to kill, let alone one of their own, to kill another soul. It's not in their nature to do so. They don't intend to cause harm, they're just trying to survive. That's their main purpose. The soul's sole intention isn't to harm, isn't to kill, especially one of their own. So to have this seeker, even though accidentally, shoot another seeker, it was practically unheard of, but her reaction was very interesting. And at the end of that scene, it was really evident that she was struggling to keep control of something, and as we find out, she's experiencing the same thing as Wanda. Her host hasn't disappeared. So I thought it was really interesting to see how having that other presence in their mind really affects them and really makes them more human as well. And also in a couple of later scenes where you can see the Seeker physically trying to keep control, you can see that she's really struggling with the fact that there's this other, mentality inside of her head. So yeah, I thought it was a very good addition to the film. So I think the last thing that I want to talk about are two scenes in particular which made me really emotional, because I think they really emphasized the good acting in this movie. I guess firstly, the one with Aaron and Brant in their suicide scene. Just seeing their faces when they come to realize that there is no hope for them anymore. They were completely surrounded by Seekers. They're sitting in their truck and they're just like, this is it. Oh, it seriously broke my heart. And then they just start driving and driving and driving as this war comes closer and closer. It was just their faces when they came to realize that they had to die. And especially since we didn't even really know these characters. In the film we weren't really introduced to them. We'd barely seen any of them except for on the particular raid that they were on. And then that happened. And you're just like, oh. And then the other scene was when Wanda walks in to the hospital and she can see the mutilated bodies of these souls. I think that was one of the only scenes that conjured up the same emotions that I felt in the corresponding scene in the book. Because I remember when I read that scene in the book, I'm pretty sure I cried. I remember her walking in and just being horrified by what she saw, and I was horrified for her, and just I felt the same thing in the movie when this scene came up. I just really love Saoirse Ronan as an actress. I think she's so fantastic. And there was also the fact that she called them monsters, which is exactly what she said in the book. There were quite a few times when the script stuck closely with the dialogue in the book, and in that scene it really worked. Sometimes it worked really well, but other times I think that's why it was really cheesy. It just, translating it into a film straight like that just didn't really work. For example, the flashback when Melanie and Jared are, sitting on that couch outside in front of the fire, where he's saying something like, you don't have to be with me because we're the last two people on the earth, and she's like, I want to, and blah blah blah. I don't know, it just was like, it was just really awkward. I was seriously laughing in the movie. This was meant to be some romantic scene and I was just sitting there laughing. Anyway, I think that's all that I have to say about the movie. Yeah, so I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on both the book and the movie. If you liked them, if you didn't like them, were you disappointed by the film or did you really like it? So yeah, I hope you like those reviews. And I guess that's it. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!